Hey, welcome to Backyard Bows. I'm Brandon. Today we are going to do a product review on the Tactacam 5.0. So the 5.0 is not the only camera they have. They have the Tactacam Solo, Fish 1, the 5.0, and the 5.0 wide. So we went with the Tactacam 5.0. I've always thought about filming my own hunts, getting a lot of equipment into a tree. Sounded like a lot of work and wasn't worth it to me. So this seemed like a very reasonable and simple solution to that. And so really what you do is it comes with a little mounting, what would be in place of your stabilizer. So you have your Allen wrench. Once you get it in, you tighten it down. You'll want to make sure that the knob on the bottom is what keeps the camera in there, as on the bottom, and then on the top you'll have your record and your mode button. So once you get this on there real tight, you'll want to reposition it where it's lined up like this, and then your camera will be level and give you the proper viewing. So something kind of noticeable right off the bat is the camera is really small, and when you're viewing it online, it looked a little bit bigger, but it's actually pretty small. So on the top, you'll have a record and power button, and then you'll have another button that says mode/Wi-Fi, and I messed around with this a little bit. So first, you want to take the back off. You'll install your small SD card, and then you'll charge it. And just be careful getting the back side of this thing off. It has this little black knob that lines up in there, and you kind of twist it. There's a lock and unlock right here that you can see. Twist it to the unlock, and you pop it off. But it seems a little bit fragile to me. I've been really careful with it, getting it on and off. But just be careful that. Don't force it. Just kind of wiggle it off, and it'll slide off the back there. Just be mindful of that. So once you get it on, it'll be a solid green, and then it'll vibrate twice in your recording, which is cool. So you can feel it instead of trying to see while you're hunting the colors and the blinking light. You can kind of feel that. And once it vibrates twice, you're recording. And then once you press it again, it'll vibrate once and it turns off. Now, when it's in the pause mode, you can press the mode. So when it's green, it's just recording regularly. When you press it and it turns blue, that is zoom. And again, I just am learning about this, but I'm pretty sure the blue is zoom, which is ×8, which is really cool. Yeah, and then there's a light blue, so the next one, which is light blue, that's slow motion. And that's awesome as well. So this just slides right in. Again, you want to get it to where your power button, record button, everything is up. You got the Tactacam in the side, which also helps you line it up, and then you'll just want to tighten that knob on the bottom. Once that's nice and tight, and I want to get it nice and secure so this thing doesn't fall out, then you got your camera hooked up to your stabilizer. So in theory, wherever you point your bow, it's going to be picking up the footage, which is cool. So let's take it over here real quick. We'll press it one time. I can feel it recording. And now while I'm facing my 3D targets, it's picking up the 3D targets, which is really, really cool. Something else that is cool, the vibration when it vibrates, you actually, without touching the camera, you can feel it in the grip of your bow, which is cool. So if you press that button, you'll feel it vibrate twice. That means you know it's running, and then you can press it again and you can feel it when it turns off. Something else really cool that I've been reading about that it says it has is kind of a video stabilizer, so that when the shot of your compound bow, crossbow, even a gun, the video will stabilize and you'll get a nice clear footage. Something else that I've been thinking about, and again, we'll take this out and we'll test it. I've been thinking a lot about like your follow through, your shot. So you kind of have to tweak your shot a little bit if you really want to get the arrow hitting the critter on film, and then maybe even the it running off. You're going to have to shoot a hair differently. So you want to pull back, you're going to let your arrow go, and then you're going to want to keep it real nice and sturdy and follow the animal instead of following through. So that's something else I've had in mind. Again, I haven't shot it yet with this on there, so we're going to give you all this for the first hand, and then we're actually going to get up in a tree stand. We'll place a 3D target where I think it'll be, and we'll shoot at a couple different options of daylight, and we'll kind of mix it up and see how good this thing views. It's supposed to film in 4K, so how good the video is, and then also how good that video is when it's zoomed in ×8. But yeah, this thing is pretty cool. I'm actually really excited. Super simple, easy to set up. Something cool about the SD card that I was just reading a second ago is that it's compatible with any Tactacam model you get. It does full HD, 4K, it's water shock, X-ray temperature proof, and it includes the SD adapter. So that little card that you take out will go into your Tactacam card, and that'll slide into your computer, and so you can view your footage. Awesome. Let's get to shooting a little bit and we'll see what this thing can do. All right, so we got it on here. It's fully charged. We got the card in there. We'll kind of do a couple shots with it here in the backyard, and then we'll actually take it to the property, and we'll get up in a stand and we'll do some there. So my biggest question is, I have a feeling the picture right now with the sun out is going to be great quality. It'll look really good. This is what I'm assuming. And then once we get up in a tree stand, we're going to kind of, recreate that shot that you take right at dusk when the sun's fading. There's really not much light out there. How good is the picture quality going to be, and how is this camera going to pick up something when it's almost dark, which is when most of us probably take most of our shots on an animal. So so right now we'll turn it on. You got your 2 pulsing vibrations that you can feel in your hand. You don't even have to be holding the camera or checking it. You know that it's running. We'll take a couple shots. So again, it's kind of hard not to follow through, but we want the camera to stay, on target. If the deer or whatever we're shooting at, takes off, we're going to want to kind of capture that as well. So I'm trying my best to not follow through like I would, and to keep that camera directly on the target. Okay, so now we're going to turn it off. I'm going to switch it to the zoom. So now it's zoomed, let's say 8 times is what it says. And what I noticed when I was playing around earlier is, like, I think I would just keep it on the zoom. That gives you like that really nice close-up shot of whatever you're shooting at. You think 8 times zoom, it's going to be really, really magnified, but it's not. It just kind of gives you that nice close-up of the shot. So again, we'll turn it back on. You get your 2 vibrations, which let you know that it's filming. I have to say too, it kind of sets up nice. Like, it's, it kind of really does take the place of that stabilizer. I don't know how much it does for vibration, obviously, but it kind of recreate some of that balancing that we like to do. So it's like a perfect position for a camera like this. It's such a great idea. So again, we'll get one more in slow motion. We'll try to keep that as stable as we can so that you can kind of see the shot. And again, if you're conscious about it, it's easy to keep that nice and full. We'll see how good these came out. But I'm thinking I'm definitely going to take this into a stand or a blind and just see if I can't get some footage, because that's one thing I've really never done, is film some of my hunts, which I've always wanted to do. So, and then again, we'll get up in that tree stand. We'll let it get right till about daylight, the last little bits of daylight, and we'll get some shots when that sun's going down. We'll see if it can pick up those as well. But pretty cool. Let's get over to the property, and we'll kind of do a little bit more shooting, and we'll see just what this thing can do. Okay, so looking back on the Tactacam, first I shot it over the last several days. We shot it at different times of the day, different angles, different ways, and we kind of really messed around with it. So first of all, I think this is an extremely neat piece of equipment. It's very simple to use. I love how you can feel the vibration of turning it on and off to know that it's running in your hand. I love the different settings. I love the slow motion. We'll throw up a clip of, we accidentally caught a cardinal flying by, and it's kind of cool. So I love anything in slow motion. If I was to hunt with it, I think I would just keep it on the zoom always. All of my shots were like 25, 30 yards, and that seems to be like a perfect close-up, that 8 times zoom. So that's like the mode I would keep it in. I love the way it mounts onto the bow. Again, very simple. I think the most beneficial part of filming your hunt is seeing where the arrow meets the meat. So that's the one thing that I found it really, really hard to do. So no matter how hard you held your hand still, the little bit of shock of the string hitting the string stop, which is directly behind the mount for the camera, you know, it seems to give it a jolt. And so that moment on where you would want to see the arrow hit the body of the animal, that seems to always be really, really hard to capture. It's really cool. You can always get the approach of the animal. You can get it running off. Maybe that'll be helpful in your pursuit of where it ran. But the beneficial part of filming it is knowing that if you had placed a good shot or not on the animal, which would help determine whether you're going to pursue it or hold off. So that aspect, you know, we have one shot that we'll throw up. I was at 15 yards, the daylight was perfect, the sun was perfect, and that shot you can see the arrow without a lighted knock hit the animal, but that was very rare for us to find. So again, if the sun's hitting the camera at a certain angle, it's hard to see, which you're gonna have a hard time knowing or not when you're hunting. So you know, you might think that you very well caught a nice video of the hunt, and then sure enough, the sun's hitting the camera and that kind of blurs the vision. So we found best in the evening with a lighted knock. That seems to be the best time that you're gonna get a good idea of where that arrow hits the animal. So when I hunt with it, maybe in turkey season or when we go into our deer hunting season, I'm gonna use it and we'll circle back and maybe give you some of that footage from one of our hunts, which is gonna be cool. But you know, that's when I'm anticipating getting the best footage, is kind of a little bit after daylight. Sun's in the right angle, lighted knock, that seems to show up the best. But there's tons of scenarios where we shot a ton with this and you could barely tell if the arrow hit the animal or not. And then even afterwards, trying to hold still with your hand and find the animal, it's kind of takes some practice. So if you were to get this, you know, shoot it a whole bunch, look at your camera footage, make sure that you're holding it the angle. When I first started, I was holding it up and I was actually filming upwards and I didn't know it until I looked back. So mess around with it a little bit. Pretty cool product, $2.99. I feel like that's very inexpensive for such a cool attachment that you can kind of record some of your hunts personally without having to take a whole bunch of gear into the woods. We'll be using it this fall, and again, maybe even here in a couple weeks during spring turkey season. We'll have a ton more product reviews coming at you. This is just the beginning. This is something I've always been really interested in, so that's why we started with the Tactacam. But stay tuned, we got a lot more to come. See you later.